Okay, hello everyone, or if there's anyone out there watching, today we're gonna continue The Legend of Spyro, new beginning, and, yeah, let's just, get to it, yeah. I guess I am, Dave Reviews, and, I hope you enjoyed the stream. And, I guess, yeah, the adventure continues. So here we have like a flying section, and yeah, it's kind of interesting how they only implemented like a total of two flying sections in the entire game, and like this is kind of another one of those instances where you kind of feel like there should have been more, but they either ran out of time or they just didn't have the resources to sort of add like an additional sort of flying level, I guess. Hopefully I don't die and embarrass myself, I guess. Yeah, but I do find it kind of funny how the cannons are like launching like monkeys into the air, and like, yeah, it's like instead of actual bullets, it's like their own sort of henchmen they're launching into the air. So yeah. I guess I could kind of see them sort of maybe implementing like an open world for these sort of like rail shoot on rail sections, instead of making it so linear, I guess.
Dante's freezer is a desolate Arctic expanse that's littered with the machinery of war. Soldiers and weapons frozen forever in the posture of destruction. You must find Voltaire before he's lost forever.
How the heck do I land? Coming in too fast!
This doesn't look good.
Incoming!
That's gonna hurt. Nice landing, Ace.
Yeah, maybe this flying thing ain't for me.
Well, it sure doesn't help that you're carrying all that weight. You know, throw a salad in every once in a while. You might be okay.
Yeah, I think I'll stick to the ground for a while.
Good idea.
Not exactly a friendly place, huh? Wonder where we should start.
Well, I'm no hero like you, but maybe we should take that clearly marked path that leads to the interior? Is it weird that that blinked at me?
Just keep moving.
Ice Cube's alive!
So, this...
Why don't we use this thing to knock that bad boy down?
I knew I brought you along for a reason.
So I guess they do sort of try to do something different with the gameplay in this section, considering that they do have you sort of launching these snowballs into the air against certain barriers in order to sort of unblock your path. So I'll try to demonstrate over here. And you just hit the catapult and it kind of launches into the air. And there's a little glitch there. But again, I kind of feel like there could have been sort of like there could have been more to these kinds of
That was a good
gameplay
idea.
elements instead of
You? Glad you? No.
just instead of just simply knocking down barriers that were blocking your path. Sorry, I'm trying to make good commentary. I guess another thing to talk about is that I do kind of wish that the game had a more creative variety of enemies instead of what we got. For the most part, you'll be fighting these like baboons, and they all kind of come in a sort of like a variety of like colors depending on the environment that you're finding in. So since this is like a snow level, most of the baboons will be covered in like white and blue, and so they're color coded and all, but for the most part they all sort of function the same, and that kind of adds to this sort of repetition of the game. Like, yeah, there could have been like a better variety of enemies, and yeah. And that's sort of a problem that I also had with like the Eternal Night. It wasn't until Dawn of the Dragon that this problem sort of got fixed, where you did see like sort of a decent variety of like enemies to fight. Like you had like the elite enemies in Dawn of the Dragon. I guess I'll try to get to the end of Dante's freezer and see if I want to keep going from there. But yeah. And I guess in terms of snow levels, I think this one does sort of differ compared to what we traditionally got in most other Spyro games, and considering that what I really do like about this level's level design is that it kind of gives off the feeling that it's sort of like an abandoned sort of civilization. And so I guess that is something that I do quite sort of appreciate about it. I think the only other level that was kind of similar to this one in I don't know, the original Spyro game is probably like Frozen Altars.
You think that was Cinder?
I sure
Kind
hope
of
so.
had.
What?
Well, if it
I
wasn't, it means there's more than one giant evil dragon around here.
Oh, yeah. I hope that was Cinder too.
Yeah, well, as I was saying, like, Frozen Altars kind of had a similar kind of feel of, like, a civilization in, like, the middle of, like, an ice age kind of environment. Yeah. Yeah, another thing that I kind of forgot to talk about is, if you look at the top right, you see a lot of there's a lot of different enemy names, and like here you'll say Hate Coil the Rotten, and that's you do kind of have to wonder who actually came up with these types of enemy names, but there are a lot of very interesting ones, and I remember when I used to play this game a lot with my friend, we would kind of come up with a theory that the main reason they had those kinds of names has kind of a lot to do with the fact that Cinder actually kind of hated her goons or minions. And, so yeah, that was. Yeah, so Rat talks to Pearl Dash, who comes up with those kinds of names? just need to throw the snowball. Oh, wait. Actually, I think it's cleared from enemies.
Look out! Ah! Spyro, you okay, buddy? Woo! I guess so.
Yeah, here we have the electricity breath, and it's right now it's kind of useless. It doesn't really do too much, but if you upgrade it, you can sort of push enemies like around. So like as you can see here. Oops. Yeah, so I just upgraded it, and yeah, now you can sort of toss them around, and you can like push them off the cliff if you want. And I guess another sort of fun thing is you can push enemies around using the snowballs. And oops. So let's see. Yeah. Yeah, like kind of like that. Yeah, you push them around and yeah. So yeah, like stuff like this, I think looks kind of cool. Sort of like a scale, kind of like a like Shadow of the Colossus kind of design. Oh, yeah. Guess I'll be honest here. I'm not really 100% sure what to sort of comment about. It's like this game is generally very simple in terms of its scope and sort of what you do in it, and yeah, I just sort of felt like doing it today, and yeah, those enemies can be fairly annoying, considering that they kind of have like two phases in which you fight them in their body armor while also while also trying to fight their skeleton form as well. See, yeah. this is pretty much all you do in the game. And it's very simple combat. Like I said earlier, I totally understand where people are coming from when they say that the combat is sort of repetitive, and because you basically only have like this one combo, and it's like they could have added more. They could have added more to the combat, sort of given it more variety. Could have been more melee combat abilities. So I guess I'm sorry if it sounds a little sort of disinteresting, but I'm trying, and yeah, I'm trying. I kind of wonder how they sort of survive the impacts to those, like, like, when they get dropped onto the ground, in an explosion. Yeah, these enemies can be kind of annoying because they do have like a block that kind of knocks you backward. But here, yeah, I could just air combo them and flame them with my breath. I think the electricity breath is the most fun to use, considering you could just knock them around like this, and it's, you know. I guess here's another thing that I kind of noticed with this game is that they did make it, Crumb Studios did make it, like, very easy and simple. And the Eternal Night sort of tried really hard to, kind of, fix this issue of the difficulty by making the game harder. However, the Eternal Night ended up being too hard in terms of its difficulty, and like, I wouldn't say they 100% nailed the difficulty with this game, but compared to the Eternal Night, where you had like checkpoints all over the place, and it wasn't as the new beginning certainly did the difficulty a lot better compared to the Eternal Night. That's what I'm trying to say. And, as I said earlier, I do kind of wish that there was sort of more to these levels, because this is pretty much all you'll be doing throughout the game, and yeah, it's probably already like said that like I don't know, maybe 17 times. And I guess all that being said, I will say that the combat is very satisfying and very cathartic, and I do like the lightning blur effects as well. That also looks quite nice. It's a nice touch. But oh shit. Avatar to Rotten, as you can see, that's his name. So like, what? You gotta wonder like who came up with these? Who came up with these names? Like, who the fuck came up with these set of names? Like, I probably feel that the developers probably had the most amount of fun coming up with the enemy names. So like Cataclysm, the Undead, as you can see there, and yeah, you gotta wonder. You really gotta wonder, like, how did they, like, yeah, whose idea sort of was this, you know? Yeah, like, who the fuck decided that these, like, iron shirt were hidden, but these very, these would be good names, I guess. I should have saved the Fury for scenarios like this. And another thing with the skeleton enemies is the only way to stagger them is with, like, the breath ability. And, yeah. And yeah, I guess I kind of decided to do these mainly because I kind of wanted to, like, take a break from doing the reviews, and I thought live streaming would kind of be an interesting sort of thing to try out, instead of just doing reviews, and more reviews, and all. I know I'm not quite very good at it, but I am trying, and yeah, overall, I guess if I was being honest, it is a little bit. This game is a little worse than I kind of remember it being. I am kind of starting to see that there's just, like, not much. There just really wasn't much to it, as I've said probably like 1,000 times, and like, it's basically just like a regular kind of beat 'em up, and they're... It's like they didn't put as much effort as they could have, and you know, it's very linear, which is fine. But I mean, even in linear sort of beat 'em up games, they could have, the gameplay could have sort of benefited from having more variety, and it's, to me, it's kind of a fine sort of difference, sort of a fine line of balance between having a lot of variety versus well, still not deviating too much from the core gameplay, and I guess that can be kind of difficult to perform. And well, to be honest, I had no idea where I was going with that thought. I'm kind of rambling at this point. Because, yeah, it's not too much to this game. I guess, in one sense, it is sort of a step backward from the original Spyro games. Because at least those were sort of willing to sort of experiment and sort of had a bit of variety with the gameplay. What is it? Sorry, I thought I was gonna die down here. So, yeah, sometimes I guess it is kind of difficult to stagger the enemies. But some of the animations that they give the electricity breath is kind of fun. But I guess the main appeal with this game kind of comes from the fact that you can just go around and sort of smash everything in your path. And it would still feel very satisfying, considering that it's like, here, you have little interactions like that that mostly involve like hitting stuff, and it's very satisfying, considering, yeah, the sound effects and all. Oh shit. Let's see. Sometimes it can be very difficult trying to figure out where you're supposed to go. like you could see there's a lot of breakable objects, and I feel like the developers kind of intentionally put those things there to sort of have you like break it. And I think, like I said before, I think the sound effects play a big role in making the combat very satisfying. But although it does suffer from quite a bit of repetition at the same time. I died. I died there. Fuck. Look, the game actually made little platforms for me to traverse across. Okay, and yeah, speaking of which, I guess this game has a lot of sections where you'll have to sort of kill a bunch of enemies in a group, and and it won't let you progress before you sort of kill all of them. So these, I guess, to admit, these can be very tedious because come on. Yeah, and Dreadwing can be also sort of an annoying enemy, considering they also have like a block maneuver that will cause Spyro to get hit. And there he. So yeah, with electricity, I could try to knock him over like the cliff. Let's see if I can do it. Yeah. There, I did it. I knocked him off the cliff. It's part of the fun with this game. See how many of these guys I can knock off the cliff. So he's still up there. We're good again. Part of the appeal of this game, using electricity breath to knock enemies off. Make enemies off. Oh shit. I died.
It's okay. We can try again.
So as you can see, yeah, the checkpoints are very generous because it just lets you start from where we left off, where we died previously. You can see. But it's oddly satisfying, and it makes tedious parts like this a little bit slightly more bearable. Especially considering I'm not making any interesting commentary. Just knocking them over the cliff, and yeah. Or at least I think this is what you're supposed to do. I could kind of embarrassing if I was wrong. And you don't. No. How many of these guys are there? It's like a never-ending stream of Dreadwings. Currently, I'm sitting crisscross applesauce on the floor, and yeah, it's uncomfortable. Hopefully, I can figure out like a better setup besides this. You guys probably can't see it because I don't have the camera on. Yeah, it's stretch my legs a little bit. So I guess, like, little things like this makes this game, like, fairly appealing, like, being able to knock them over and all. That was a lot of enemies.
Maybe we should head this way, Genius.
But I kind of wish. Yeah, it's kind of like the develop.
Oh, check this out.
Okay, well.
Echo!
Yeah, it's kind of like in those kind of sections. It feels like the developer kind of ran out of
Alright, my turn. Hello!
ran out of ideas. And just kind of has
The genius now.
like a swarm of enemies. Like it would never ask that. As you can see, I'm still learning, and yeah, how to do this, but
Hey, that's him. We did it. Bye.
I don't like this. Yeah, it's too quiet, too easy.
What part was easy? Getting chased by frozen madmen and gorillas?
Sparks.
Is that what I think it is? Ah!
David Spade, you did not sound very afraid in that when you read that line. And one thing I forgot, because I should turn the subtitles on. Yeah, here we have like the first boss of the game. He's called the Ice King. I'm not sure if he has like.
How's that?
Oh, you can still attack. The shields. Yeah, it's very simple and straightforward. But I think he's the only boss that has like multiple phases. Like here I just activated his second phase. And the most strategic way to beat him is basically just use the fire bombs on him. Because it actually does a lot of substantial damage to him. Yeah, it's very simple and very sort of easy, not terribly difficult boss. Yeah. No. Yeah, you have like his leg kind of showing in the. I remember my friend was very sort of disgusted at that when he first saw it. To avoid his breath, considering that it does freeze you. I don't know what I'm saying. I'm stuck. I was frozen there for a second. So yeah, it's basically a dominant strat with just using the fire bombs. And I guess that's sort of another reason why this game can feel kind of tedious, considering there's sort of like that dominant strat kind of aspects to it.
It borders on the miraculous, incredible, stupendous. A dragon your size defeating that thing. Thank you.
Spyro.
A purple dragon named Spyro. Amazing. Of course, there were unsubstantiated rumors of a purple dragon countless generations ago, but most considered a hearsay. Gossip, legend, it's hard to believe, difficult to fathom, amazing to comprehend.
No wonder they gagged this guy.
So much time has passed, so many things have been learned. And now here he is standing right before me.
Excuse me, Mr. Vault.
What is it?
So shouldn't we get going?
Oh, of course. But where to?
Well, back to the temple.
A friend of yours is waiting?
Ignitus?
Yes, Ignitus.
Of course, much to tell him, many hypotheses to pose. I believe.
Yeah, another thing to mention is that each of the dragons kind of have their own sort of unique personality in the game. So, like, Voltaire is very loquacious, and he tends to talk a lot.
Yes, yes, Voltaire. It's good to see you as well, but we don't have time to waste on sentiment. Back to Cinder. She was doing what to you?
Cinder's a chick?
Oh, it's hard to be absolutely sure, Ignitus. But it seems she was using me as some sort of suspended organic power
That's
source.
kind of a random line.
She was using him as a battery.
Why didn't he just say so?
Not only that, she also left with a glowing yellow orb, and I believe that I somehow powered it. Does this mean anything to you, Ignitus?
Perhaps. Perhaps. What I do know is that we need to rescue the other Guardians before Cinder can power any more of those orbs.
I agree, Ignitus, but first I'd like to impart some useful knowledge to Spyro, vis-a-vis his recently acquired electricity-based exhalation device.
What?
Well, he says he'd like to teach me some things about that electricity breath.
Oi, why didn't you just say so?
Okay, and now Voltaire's gonna teach us about teach Spyro about electricity.
Spyro, come here.
Electricity, the spark of life. Listen, and I will teach you in sequence.
Yeah, kind of like I said earlier, these things you could basically learn from like experimenting around with the game, but instead the game Chrome Studios decided that the best way for the player to learn these kinds of things is through basically like going through these training sections and sort of forcing you to learn them. But I kind of feel these types of sections are a bit sort of unnecessary to a certain degree. Yeah, it's basically the exact same thing as the fire breath training, considering that you chase the dummies and try to attack them with your breath, and it's just more of the same, basically.
You're a quick study up.
I'm just gonna upgrade the electricity breath. Alright.
Over here.
I guess, yeah, but I will give it some credit that, like, the projectile secondary attacks, they are kind of interesting, with how they sort of change it up a little bit. So here, with electricity, you can, as you saw earlier, you could basically trap your enemy inside of sort of like an electric cage and knock them into the air so they can perform an air combo. So, yeah, there are... yeah, basically like that. You can... And then as you upgrade it, the electric particles will sort of they bounce around the room. So they can hit multiple targets.
Igniters will be pleased.
Spyro, come here.
Yeah, this is sort of electricity fury ability, and that they're trying to sort of have me do. I guess previously I messed it up by not waiting for the R2 prompts. Basically, what you're supposed to do is collect enough of the purple fury gems, and you in order to like unleash the fury attack. Yeah. So, like, yeah, you have to wait for the R2 prompts in order to performance. Okay, so yeah, there's the R2 prompt.
Your training is complete. For now.
Spyro. Cyril, the Ice Guardian, was taken to Tall Plains. You and Sparks must go there at once and find him.
Yes, sir.
But if we see danger, we should run, right?
There are times when all of us need to stand up to danger, young Sparks.
Yeah, maybe next month, next summer, perhaps next year.
Just go. Now.
Yes, sir.
I will say that I kind of feel like Sparks is like an unnecessary aspect to this game, but
Tall Plains was once home to a proud ancient tribe called the Atlawa.
Oh, bless you.
Sparks.
The Atlawa were a people in tune with the rhythms of the seasons, focused on their relationship to crops, their surroundings, their gods. They've all been driven underground by Cinder and her forces, who have taken over the tribe's shrine. I sense that's where Cinder is keeping Cyril, trying to power another crystal. You must find him before she succeeds.
Right. Never easy.
Nothing worthwhile ever is.
So now you're spouting wisdom, hero boy?
come on.
I guess this is the level that probably has the most amount of actual platforming in it. And, like, compared to the rest of the game, I'd probably say Tall Plains has the most amount of platforming, although it's still mostly combat for the most part. Like, if they had only just sort of implemented combat a little bit better, then this game would be like 1,000 times more improved than it is in its sort of current state. So, like, as you can see there, like, there is some sort of puzzle solving to this level. With, like, raising the totem poles and all. Just gonna try to get this guy there. Oops. Supposed to go in here. Yeah, you don't want to step on that, otherwise, like, that thing will shoot an arrow at you. Yeah, as you can see, it's mostly the same type of enemies that tend to appear in this game, which generally makes A New Beginning sadly feel very repetitious in its gameplay.
My friend.
Does that mean what I think it does?
Yeah, we've got to help him.
Oh, brother.
My enemy is my friend. I'm not sure what caused Spyro to say something like that. Oh yeah, speaking of which, I haven't really talked much about the story in this.
Would ya?
I was just trying to help.
Well, the Outlawer and Kane need no help.
Oh, just about to spring into action, huh?
Forget this guy, Spyro. Come on.
What did they want with you, anyway?
It's none of your business. Now move. I've got a tribe to save.
Oh, you're welcome.
I guess it does get more exciting as time goes on, but for the most part, it is fairly generic. It's basically Spyro needs to like save the Dragon Elders and then sort of save the world kind of plot. But it does develop a little bit better as
Let's keep trying.
as the game goes on, and you'll see that it's nothing too deep, but they do try to make Spyro more like epic, for lack of a better word, and more sort of a little bit sort of darker, I guess, and grittier, and it's generally gotten, as is the case with a lot of things related to like The Legend of Spyro, it's generally kind of controversial with the direction that this game decided to sort of take, especially compared to the rest of the Spyro games. Like I said, there's some platforming elements within this game, and it's a lot more than what you'd expect from the rest of the Legend of Spyro games. I mean, the rest of this game, considering that it's mostly combat, but this level, Tall Plains, has quite a bit of platforming instances within it. And, I think I'll get to the next save point and, maybe, call it. Yeah, so the story basically, it's basically Spyro having to save these Dragon Elders, and it's they were all captured sort of from the past, when they sort of went to war with the Dark Armies, and Spyro here, he kind of needs to rescue them, and sort of stop Cinder from sort of taking over sort of like the world or the Dragon Realm, and sort of along the way he kind of tries to discover his more about his past and origins, and it's basically a reboot of the original Spyro games. And it's overall, it's not perfect. Like even the story, I kind of wish there was more to it. I probably think that probably the strongest aspect of this game's story is probably sort of the father-son or mentor-apprentice relationship between Spyro and Ignitus. And at the same time, I guess they do some kind of interesting things with the other Dragon Elders or Dragon Guardians by giving them all sort of unique personalities. Kind of like as you saw with Voltaire, his special personality was talking a lot, since he's sort of meant to be eclectic, and he's because like electricity, it's usually what you think with electricity. However, I think this game's story, it kind of suffers from the fact that it feels generally like somewhat generic in its scope, despite the fact that it does try to be novel, and it kind of becomes sort of like a very sort of by the books kind of linear kind of story, like as you can see here. Spyro just simply needs to rescue the different Dragon Elders, and it doesn't really advance much sort of beyond that. But I will give it the credit, the benefit of the doubt, that it is sort of the first game trying to start a new series, sort of reinventing Spyro, and I guess it does sort of lay some of the groundwork for creating like a future mythos out there later on. So I do think it does do a good job at laying the groundwork with that. However, it doesn't 100% succeed, but I do like what it tries to set up at least, and so he's a fury attack on that guy. Oh, it surprisingly didn't even kill him. It just took heavy amount of damage. But for the most part, I mean, I do remember liking this game a lot when I was a lot younger, and yeah, it's. Although playing it now, I do kind of admit it does get a little old after a while, and I do feel like they could have, I don't know how to say it. They could have, it just could have been more. It could have been a lot more than what it is, like right now, because there was a lot of potential for this kind of like rebooting Spyro and all. However, it sort of falls up. I guess, like there could have, and like I don't mind like even like the beat 'em up combat and all. It's all fine and dandy. However, where it kind of however, it's not 100% polished, and like even these kinds of views I think look kind of cool and kind of atmospheric, and it feels like sort of like a next generation feel of Spyro. However, like it's not 100% like polished with in terms of the gameplay, and it's, yeah, I guess like at worst it's mediocre, but then at best it's like fairly decent, I guess that's what I'd say. So like sections like these, where you're fighting a bunch of enemies, if only they had like given Spyro additional combat abilities, different melee abilities, and all, these kinds of sections would have worked a lot better. But for the most part, you're kind of just like mashing the circle button and occasionally using Spyro's breath abilities to sort of do combat, and it's like so it kind of makes these sections a bit redundant for the most part, and alright. But in case you're kind of curious where I'd rank this one, I think it's probably maybe like the 5th best Spyro game, behind like the original 3 from Insomniac Games and Dawn of the Dragon. I do think it is better than the Eternal Night, even though the Eternal Night it improves on certain aspects from this game. However, it doesn't quite. It also creates a whole host of other problems as well that A New Beginning didn't have, like the game being too difficult and such. Although the Eternal Night, I do get my heartstrings do tend to be pulled with like that game's ending. I think I do really like the Eternal Night's ending. It was very emotional and such. So, yeah. I mean, this game's story for the most part, it's fine, and it is nicely paced and all, but there are, I guess it is kind of, it's just some generic tropes, like Spyro being like the chosen one, the chosen purple dragon, And I guess another thing is, I really do like the music to this game as well. It's like this music, like the track that's playing right now, it really does set up a lot of sort of intensity that I think is kind of cool. Oh, he died. I did that fury. I wasted that fury. Just push them off the ledge. That's the best way to beat them. And I guess I also like how the gems just sort of come to you even after you push them off the ledge. Let's see if I can follow them. See where they're kind of falling. No, you can barely see it.
We're going to have to use the water wheels to move ahead.
Oh, it's never easy.
So yeah, here's you can see here there's some sort of puzzle. This level has decent variety. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out what to talk about here. Yeah, it's not much of a puzzle, but it's something, I guess. I think that combat is kind of... It's as repetitive as it is satisfying, considering the sound effects do feel very punchy, you know. So here's the last one. Yeah. You can ignore the enemies if you want. What's going on there? They're glitched. They're... Whatever. Sorry about that. They were kind of glitched together there, I guess. I guess the slow motion also kind of adds a bit to the combat. The Eternal Night actually expands even more on the slow motion by by sort of adding in sort of like a dragon time. So Spyro could basically has the ability to slow down time, not just when he's in the air, but also when he's on the ground, and sort of like a bullet time in one sense. But this game, you can only perform the slow motion while in the air. Sorry, I know I probably didn't explain that very well, but yeah. Take this guy out. Shit.
All right, let's do it.
Do I have to do it all over again? Nope. Game saved where I was before. Oh, see? Kind of looks like they're congregating over there. There. Stuck together a little bit. Sorry about that. Let's see. And I also will say that visually, I think this game is very appealing to look at. Like, these little water effects here, and the sun glinting off the waterfalls. I think it looks very nice. Like, yeah, over here, like the sun, like the waterfall coming down, like the little cracks in the walls. I think it looks very appealing to look at. So, you know, I could. So visually, this game is sort of like a step up, I guess. Yeah.
Kane!
Yeah, I know the guy's an ingrate, but you gotta do something, and fast. Buddy, you are getting weirder and weirder by the second.
I wonder how Spyro learns. How do these breath abilities activate? I think I'm gonna die here. Like, how does... You do kind of wonder... How did his ice breath sort of activate at that moment? I remember shows like I guess I don't know if y'all remember this, but like Danny Phantom, like how do his ghost powers suddenly sort of activate? I guess it's the same kind of question. No, that's, I guess that was a save point. And, I think I'll stop there, and, thank you, and, have a good day, and, yeah, I guess I'll try to create more content in the future, and, yeah, uh, bye.